Alrighty, thank you very much. For those who I haven't had a chance to introduce to yet, my name's Damien, or Damo as most people know me. I'm the director at ONGC. We founded this company in 2003 and lucky enough to, we've got 19 staff, which makes us one of the largest sort of SMB integrators on the coast and a little bit beyond. What we tried to do today is, and I'm going to keep this fairly short, and we're really aiming to try and not eat too much of your time, and in particular just go through and take a snapshot of some of the things that you mightn't be aware of, some of the technologies that we're working on and some of the other facilities that can go through. So first of all, a little bit of housekeeping. If you do need to go to the bathroom, not a problem, there's one downstairs, and if not, there's also another upstairs. So, you know, if there's any rush on for the loos, if there's a fire, pretty straightforward. We've got sort of one exit that goes that way. If it's at the front door, we're in trouble, I'll put this garage door up. So going through, and if needing any food or drinks, just feel free to go and help yourself. A quick thank you in particular to Brett, who I mightn't have met everyone yet, but has come up from Microsoft Sydney to assist us today, and is obviously probably the one that most of you are all keen to hear. To my staff who've helped sort of put this together in my absence and go through, and also we'll be adding a little bit of additional information on. But to most of all you guys, thank you very much for giving up some of your time to come and have a chat, and hopefully we can reward you with some information and some take-home points that are relevant that you didn't know before that you have now. The one thing, just taking a very quick moment to sort of discuss, and I think I've taken a few of you around the office and I've used the term IT plumbers, and that's where we grew up. That's where this business started, where things were broken, we fixed it. And you'd have a server on site and PCs on site, and you'd go through, and you just go through that process of break, fix, and at the end of 3 years you go and sort of buy new stuff. Now that world's changed massively, and we've sort of really tried to change our business accordingly to ensure that we're here to become more than just plumbers, but actual planners and technology advisors and trusted advisors like that. So that's part of what we're trying to do here. The guys are going to talk about some of the DIY instruction stuff that we're putting together, but we're also going to go through and try and create these seminars more regularly, where we can have people share the information, and we honestly feel that by giving people information, it will empower them and challenge them. And our takeaway request for you guys today is to try and think of a business issue or a business problem that you've got and ask to see whether we can help with technology. All right? That's the key. That's all we're asking about, is just sort of if there's one thing that's impeding you or one thing that goes through and says it's a little bit annoying or we're not doing it smart, please come back and challenge us. That's what we're here for. That's what we want to be able to go through and assist. So without going sort of any further into it, I'd like to introduce Brett, who's obviously the key, and he'll go through a lot of the secrets of Office 365. All yours, mate.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. I think I had the chance to meet most of you outside, but for those who didn't. My name is Brett, and I work for Microsoft. I have the fortunate position of working with some of our top cloud partners across New South Wales and Queensland. And I obviously work very closely with Damo and the guys here at ONGC, and it's pleasure working with the guys. They really are doing fantastic things. So the topic of today is secrets of Office 365. As I mentioned outside, Office 365 is an incredibly broad product. It's an incredibly broad set of tools that can have a fundamental change in the way you are productive within your business. What we've tried to do today is to grab some, real punchy bits, okay, that we think are going to be relevant to this room, but there is so much more to it. So I'd highly encourage you all, if you see something that you think is interesting, or you see something that you would like to go a little bit deeper on, reach out to the guys at ONGC. They're really experts at what they do, and can explore how some of the stuff you see here today, or some of the other things that come with Office 365, can change the way that you guys do business. So what we're going to talk about today is just a little bit on some of those key things, some of those key trends that are changing the way people use and consume technology. We'll then flow into, what's Microsoft's reaction to those changes, okay? And, how are we starting to think about the way we design our technology, to adapt to some of those changes that we're seeing out there in the marketplace. Then we're going to jump onto a couple of, features that I think are quite relevant that really embodies those changes and really shows the future vision and where Microsoft is taking its productivity story. And we're all going to do a lot of product demonstrations. Now, I always precurse product demonstrations by saying that, live technology is kind of like working with animals in show business, Most of the time it works incredibly well, and I'm sure it's going to this time, but, sometimes it will scratch your face off. So, let's have a quick chat about these key megatrends, okay? So these are what all the analysts, these are what, all the vendors like Microsoft are kind of, looking at that is happening out there, and they're having the things that are having the profound impact on a change, right? Changing in the way that businesses large and small, use and consume technology, okay? Now, you'll obviously see cloud up there, right? And I'm sure that's going to come to no surprise that we're going to talk about cloud and the impact that cloud is having. And it is. We could run this whole seminar on cloud and talk about cloud and talk about some of the changes and opportunities it's providing. But just to zone in on a couple that I think are kind of really relevant. The first one, which is of particular importance to particularly small and medium businesses, is it's giving access to those businesses technology that in the past was out of reach from just a cost point of view. All those enterprise grade tools are now made available through a monthly subscription, and that's kind of leveling the playing field in terms of the type of solutions and the type of tools that you can use to service your customers, and helping small businesses and medium businesses around the world kind of compete with those bigger guys. Big powerful productivity solutions, big powerful big data solutions, which we'll have a look at today. So kind of really, an exciting time to be a small and medium business in this realm of cloud. But that's not to say that, you're all in on cloud if you go that way, okay? One of the real interesting things, I think one of the most unique things about Microsoft specifically as a cloud provider is where we were an on-premise type of vendor that's now become into the cloud. So we've adapted our business by taking a lot of stuff we did here and moving it into cloud services. But that's not to say that we don't still do our kind of on-premise stuff, right? And one of the unique things about the Microsoft solution is we design all this stuff to be completely hybrid if that's what's going to suit your individual needs, right? And that's why we have, fantastic partners like ONGC who can come and have a look at your whole environment, make some plans and work out, hey, what is going to be the best areas, what are the best ways that we can leverage the cloud, and then how can we still keep some stuff on premise if that's going to be something that's going to be right for us, okay? So, one of the key messages here is yes, cloud, very important, very exciting, but it's not, all in. So there's a lot of conception out there that if we go to the cloud, we're all in, okay? So you can really kind of customize and work out which areas are going to be best for you. Some of the benefits I think that cloud brings is this idea of agility. And we hear this from, small and medium and large businesses all the time as they move to the cloud. And that is the ability to kind of dial up and dial down your kind of IT resources and spend based on the seasonality of your workforce, okay? So, gone are the days where you'd be worrying about putting on an extra 5 heads to go after an opportunity for 3 months and have to worry, hey, how many copies of Office do we need, and how do we now need to look at our on-premise servers and see how they're working? Are they going to be able to handle these extra workloads, all those other sorts of things? Kind of cloud eliminates those. You can dial up, put more heads on, give everyone a mailbox, give them access to line of business applications, look at your server and add some more power and RAM and all the sort of stuff that goes in with managing a virtual machine, and then scale that down again in a couple of months. So this idea of up and down and seasonal usage is kind of a real key benefit. And you no longer have to, consider your IT investments to go after new opportunities. It's something that is just going to be there. It's just going to work, and you can dial it up and dial it down as you need. Following on from cloud, I think that it actually is the thing that kind of enables all those other ones that you see around it as well, okay? Mobility is obviously the next one that we often talk about. And this whole notion of mobility is having a profound impact on, what work is. It's no longer a place that we go from 9 to 5. It's something that we do, right? And where we do it, how we do it, on what devices we do it, all those lines are being increasingly blurred through this notion of mobility. and you'll see pretty much every single scrap of Office 365 technology we're going to show today has a mobile app version of it as well, right? So Microsoft really, really prioritizes making sure that all these fantastic services that we're going to be mostly showing on a PC today also have an app counterpart to kind of enable people to work, you know, in a mobile sense. So mobility, again, is having a real profound impact, and Microsoft is really, really, you know, focused on making sure we enable our services to be mobile. Then we've got social and big data, right? Now, I didn't kind of, you know, when I first started at Microsoft, I didn't quite get what those were, to be honest. You know, I came from the telco industry, so I certainly got mobility. You know, I got cloud because it's something that we've been talking about for a long time. But, you know, what is social and big data? Now, I certainly got social from a marketing point of view, right? For those of you who you know, have you know, relationships and marketing functions out to your customers, who has some sort of social strategy or some sort of social account that you use to communicate with your customers, yeah? So yeah, I see a few hands go up. So that's obviously a thing. But what we're seeing increasingly is people starting to use social networks to communicate internally within an organisation. Okay, so changing this reliance on email and actually, you know, using it as a way to communicate within the business. And this is being increasingly accelerated by the millennials that are now, you know, the fastest growing segment of the workforce. Okay, because if you think about a millennial, how do they communicate digitally in their personal lives, right? A clue is it's not really from a yahoomail.com to a gmail.com. You know, that's how, you know, most people in the room would have, you know, thought about how we communicate digitally in our personal lives, but the millennials and then the later generations are doing all that through social networks, okay? So it seems only fitting that as they become the big dominant part of the workforce, they're going to feel more comfortable with having, you know, some sort of communication that enables the way that they normally are used to doing it. And, you know, a good example of this, and I think a time where I kind of realised that, hey, this stuff's actually pretty powerful, and you're going to see some demonstrations of it from the guys later on, but there's a product called Yammer, which comes with Office 365. Does everyone know what Yammer is or heard of Yammer? You know, in its most simple, basic sense, and I'm probably not allowed to compare it to because, you know, I don't know if we compete with them or whatnot, but it's kind of like Facebook but for business, okay, in a way. So it's kind of like a social network that has all the things that you can envision what Facebook is, but it has all of the IT controls and data loss preventions and identity management and all those things that you would kind of need to have an enterprise-ready kind of tool. But it still has all that functionality of a social network. And we obviously have it deployed at Microsoft, and you know there was a time a couple of weeks ago, or about a year ago now, that I needed to find out a certain bit of information about a certain product. Okay, now everything in my force of habit was telling me the way that I do this is I jump onto Outlook, I press a new email, I type in the product manager's email address, and I press send. Okay, so I was about to do that, and I suddenly thought, hang on a sec, let's just try this Yammer thing that everyone keeps harping on about, right? So I opened up Yammer, went to the search box and typed in that same question. Now, sure enough, the same product manager that I was going to ask this question of had answered that same question 3 weeks back, but the person who had done it had asked her via Yammer and tagged her and, you know, done all that sort of stuff that goes in with being a social network. But what it really did was make that conversation discoverable to me and to everyone else in the business, okay? Because in the past, I would have sent her an email, I would have waited 3 days, she would have read it, she would have come back, etc. And it wasn't, you know, instant access to information. So with networks, and the longer you have a network that's continuing to grow in conversations, the more of a resource it can be to quickly find answers to questions. So that was just a little bit of a light bulb moment to me where I suddenly went, hang on a sec, this thing's actually really, really powerful. And it is now where I go first to try and find any bit of information I need around the business. So that's social. Big data is another one, and we're going to spend a bit of time doing some demonstrations on, you know, a big data feature that we can use that comes with or alongside Office 365. You know, and I think big data is that real example of that industry trend that has been substantially enabled to small and medium business from a cost point of view with the advent of cloud, okay? Because in the past, a big chunky, you know, Oracle solution or IBM solution, you know, these were very, very expensive things to maintain and set up and manage that most small businesses didn't get the luxury of, you know, being able to look at all the millions of data sets that they have available to them and start to be able to decipher that and turn it into information, okay? But those barriers are now gone, and we'll have a look at what some of the solutions that you have available to you today through a product called Power BI. So that's the change. This is the industry. This is what everyone is saying is kind of driving change. So what does that mean for Microsoft? You know, how do we take some of our solutions and enable some of these things and basically look at our company as a general and work out what, you know, where do we exist in all of this? And a lot of that has to do with the kind of rechanging of our mission statement, okay? Now, for those of you who, you know, followed Microsoft through the 80s and 90s would know that Microsoft's goal through that time was to put a PC on every single desk and every single home and every single office, okay? That was what the company was doing, getting up every single day and striving for that, you know, to achieve that. And, you know, pretty much mission accomplished in a way. You know, PCs became this amazing, powerful industry that it is right now that, you know, changes the way that we work and play and do all those other sorts of things. But then I guess it was kind of in the year kind of 2000s, mid-2000s, when it kind of shifted to say, hey, it's not about putting a PC on every single desk. It's almost about putting a PC in every single pocket, right, through the form of a smartphone. So who here has a smartphone running Windows? The ONGC boys at the back, well done. So what a radical change, you know. So Microsoft, from a platform point of view, no longer has complete, you know, domination almost of what it is to you know, be a personal computing device. Certainly PCs are still incredibly relevant and will remain relevant alongside smartphones. But we start talking about phones and then, you know, smaller tablets. It's not necessarily Windows that are kind of powering those things. So that's not to say that Microsoft's changed its goal to not try to put a PC in your pocket. You know, absolutely, we've got a product there that we'll continue to push and continue to innovate on. But I guess it's kind of led to a rethink to say that, you know, our new goal, our new mission is to empower every person on the planet to do more and achieve more, right? So when we start talking about productivity, you know, you can kind of see that, you know, Microsoft's new mission is really centered around empowering people to do more and achieve more. And they're going to do that by, you know, with these kind of three ambitions that you see around it, okay? So that is reinvent productivity and business processes, pretty key to today's topic. Build the intelligent cloud platform and then create more personal computing, okay? Create an experience that transcends devices, transcends platforms, you know, just creating an experience that allows you to be mobile in a more personal way, regardless of your choice of phone or PC or whatever. But I think the real powerful thing with these ambitions, okay, is when there is a type of solution that actually touches all three, okay? And that's what I want to try and show you today. I want to show you and talk you through a potential solution that can help someone be more productive and completely change the process in which they would become productive by using an intelligent cloud platform and then bringing that to life on a mobile device in a really smart, clever way. Okay, so that's, to me, once all those boxes get ticked, bang, you know, that's empowering people to do more and achieve more. But just really, really quick, right? I know a lot of you are on Office 365, but just wanted to quickly talk about, you know, what it is. So when we start to do these demos, you can kind of start to kind of see where we're going with it and what it all means. Now, Office, okay, obviously a, you know, pretty popular suite of, you know, applications that I'm sure many of you use in your business. But the team that make Office at Microsoft, okay, they have never just made these applications, okay? They've always made a number of, you know, server technologies that were always designed to be sold alongside them, all right, and all designed to work together to augment those applications and make them the productivity story that Microsoft was always trying to design and deliver. But I guess in the past, you know, it's only really been one that's been deployed guaranteed with those applications, okay, and that is Exchange for email. Okay, so, but much in the same way that Exchange, you know, which holds all your contacts, your calendars, your emails, and kind of, you know, profiles and all that other sorts of stuff, much in the same way that Outlook, okay, wouldn't really be a product unless there was a service or a server underneath there kind of, you know, making it the product it can be. There's a couple of key missing ingredients that were always designed to be there and have been products for many, many years, okay? I'm talking about SharePoint and I'm talking about Skype for Business. So the Office team make all of this. It's just really the Office applications that, you know, most people kind of have. And that's because it's never been sold as one whole. You know, it's never been sold as one SKU, one product, because, you know, the licensing, the hardware and all the servers and all that sort of stuff that would require to get it all set up was just too complex and too expensive to have a marketable type of product and, you know, something that was going to be something that, you know, people would adopt. But that's where the cloud comes in, okay? So by taking those cloud services, okay, sorry, those on-premise servers, moving them into Microsoft's cloud, okay? Microsoft Office 365 data center, which is located in Sydney and Melbourne, okay? So your data doesn't leave the country once you're on Office 365. And then bundling it with those Office applications, bang, in its most simple sense, okay, that is what Office 365 is. But it's not just those server technologies where it kind of stops, okay? And I guess that's what we want to show today is, email is fantastic and it works really well in the cloud, but there's been a number of other, innovations that have come that just get turned on with Office 365 all the time, okay? So that's what we kind of want to show. So the guys are going to focus mostly in this area, okay, which is, excuse me, is going to be SharePoint and Skype for Business. I'm going to have a quick look at another one that isn't here. They call it the fourth pillar or fifth pillar, and that is going to be Power BI. So we kind of all live in this world where we just have, just an absolute explosion of data, okay? We all have data from our Microsoft, if you're on a Microsoft service, that's going to be generating data. If you've got a other cloud service that might not be Microsoft, it might be Xero Accounting, or, it might be Quicken, or it might be Salesforce, or it might be whatever cloud service you are using, that's also generating its own set of data. And same with your on-premise services. You might have a SQL server or an IBM server or, a whole range of different other things that will also be generating data, okay? But I guess because we've got data residing in so many different areas, it's kind of hard to grab all of that and put it in a way that kind of, allows people to decipher information out of it. And in its most basic sense, that's what Power BI aims to do, right? It aims to look at data wherever you've got it, okay, and present it in ways that can help you kind of make business decisions on. The first way that it does it is by putting it all in these kind of live dashboards that you see here right now. So we'll show a live one of these in a tick, but these things are kind of really, really powerful, and Microsoft as well has kind of really started, even internally, we've really started to adopt this, which is really, really cool. So our sales meetings and our, monthly connects that we have with our managers have never been so impressive, because the tools that you have to be able to design these dashboards, once all the data sets have been able to flow into Power BI, are really, really amazing, So this here might be pulling from inventory data, it might be pulling from a CRM, it might be pulling from, your financial application to see how many sales, whatever kind of set that goes ahead and generates data could be flowing into a dashboard that you can have either customized or work with ONGC to go ahead and customize for a certain department of your business, okay? So we could have a sales one, a marketing one, a finance one, all with, identity control as to who has access to what. Really, really powerful stuff, and the real powerful thing is it's all up to date. Do you know what I mean? There's none of this, we need to go run a report, we need to do all that sort of stuff. It's as those things change in their source data sets, that flows in and keeps the dashboard up to date, and you guys have the ability to go and manipulate and change those on the fly. Likewise with, I guess, the ability to go and we talked about mobility is such a key thing, but you'll be able to have access to mobile versions of those dashboards, right? So there's an Android version, there's an iOS version, you can get it on your iPad, you can get it on your Windows device, whatever, or you can get it in the web browser, okay? But it's a pretty powerful thing to be able to step off a plane, open up a Power BI app, and just have everything just update in front of your eyes with where your business is kind of at. So, this whole idea of taking all that technology and putting it in the form of a mobile application is really, really powerful stuff. So let's have a quick look at it. Let's have a quick look at some of the kind of customized versions of it and where Power BI can kind of fit. Now, we created this as a live solution to try and see how it will work with a local Australian application. In this case, we used MYOB Online, all right? So every time an invoice got generated from a front end in MYOB Online, okay, for this product, to this date, to this customer, at this time, etc., 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 modern versions of Excel can connect directly to that data source, okay? So basically what happens is a line of data basically just appears there, all right? So new invoice, line of data with all the stuff that goes into it. We then upload that data into a SharePoint library, okay? And then from there, we can start to do a number of different things to try and get insight out of that. One of the things I think is pretty cool is this feature called Q&A, okay? And I think it's cool because people are inherently afraid of new technology. This idea of getting a new system that is going to, be a big data solution normally makes people kind of freak out and think they're not going to be able to use it. But with Q&A, once it's set up, all you need to do is to be able to type in English and you can start to get the information that you want out of your data, okay? So here I'm going to look at that same spreadsheet and I'm going to type in, what are our total sales? Bang. It's going to get me that information, right? What are our total sales in New South Wales? Okay, compared to Victoria, right? Bang, it's going to put it on a graph, okay? So I'm just basically asking it questions and it is deciphering that information kind of very, very quickly across multiple different data sets and then working out a smart way to go ahead and display that information to me, right? So what if I go, what are our total sales by product? Right? Bang, it's going to spit it to us on a graph. By product and by customer, right? It's going to work out that and we might decide, hey, that's an interesting way of looking at it, but I might want to have a look at it more like that and put it into some sort of pie chart. So you can start to manipulate and kind of play with it there. But I guess the powerful thing is that was just, natural language search queries. And where it gets really, really interesting is when they start to integrate that with mobile phones, okay? So does everyone know Siri or Google Now or all these kind of personal assistants that you have on your device? So Cortana, which is the Microsoft version of those, which now runs not only on Windows Mobile, but also on iOS and Android, she can now be told, once you get it all set up, through the help of ONGC, to not just tell you whether or not you're going to need an umbrella when you travel to Paris, okay? So not just looking at public data sets like the other ones are kind of trained to do, but, once it's been set up and configured, she can start to look at your own internal data and plug into Power BI, okay? So when you get off the plane, you could say, hey Cortana, show us how many of this product we sold last week, compare that to the year before, and then put that on a map for me. Bang, she'll go ahead and do that, right there without having to even open up an application. Okay, so, kind of really, really kind of amazing stuff. And this stuff that exists today, I think Damo's, rolling out one of these right now for one of their customers. So, yeah, in a nutshell, it's kind of pretty amazing stuff. But that was kind of looking at data that we had, just using Q&A and kind of ad hoc, but all of that can kind of flow into one of these dashboards, like I said before, right, where we can hover over, get information, click down there, and it will drill in a little bit deeper and kind of, work out kind of what we need to do there. So, and again, this is pulling from so many different data sets, and the tool set to be able to manipulate and create and change these, okay, are all given to you with the product, okay, and it's kind of like using a version of Excel. So you can kind of get really kind of creative, and if there's additional things that you want to add, you're empowered as a user to be able to go ahead and add those yourself. So that's, in a nutshell, that is, a 2-second update on Power BI. But I just wanted to leave you with one last demo before we start having a look at some of the other things such as SharePoint, Delve, and Yammer, and Skype for Business. And that is how Power BI actually also integrates with the native applications that we have here, in Office. So in this case, we're going to look at Excel. So if I now, okay, so the whole brief here is I'm a company and we make security screen doors, okay? Now, my boss has come to me and said, okay, Brett, we've done pretty good. We're based here on the Gold Coast. We're about to, we want to go and now expand into the US, right? So we want you to do an analysis on the US market, and then we want you to put that into a presentable form so we can present it to the investors, and you've got 2 minutes, right? So we're going to have to go and do some analysis in the US market. So what we're going to do is we're going to go data, we're going to click on new query, and we're going to go to a data catalog search, right, which you get as part of your Power BI subscription. So in this case, I'm going to type in USA crime data, because I think that's going to be quite relevant for, us going and opening, security screen doors. It pulls in a range of different sets from a range of different data sources, okay? Let me just go ahead and click on one. And where I didn't have data, bang, I now have data that is pulled directly from I think this one comes from the US government, which breaks it down by city, breaks it down by crime, breaks it down by population, et cetera, et cetera. So that's pretty cool. But now I need to try and get some information out of that. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go insert, okay, and I'm going to plot it all onto a 3D map. So this is an example of Excel communicating with another piece of cloud technology in the form of the Bing mapping services. And as you can see, it's kind of made a little pivot table here on the side. Sorry, people are trying to invite me to meetings. Should have closed that off. And kind of plotted it all there. Now, Let's go ahead and just put on our map labels, okay, so we can see United States. Now, we were having a look at a security screen door company, so I think burglary is going to be our best, crime that we're going to be finding most relevant. So I'm going to click on burglary, all right, and you'll see that those all grow there. I'm going to go ahead and just add a new scene, okay, and I'm just going to zoom in. I'm just going to zoom in here. Oh, hang on, I've got to zoom in here. Zoom in here, and I hope no one's from Detroit, but it looks like that's when most of the burglary was happening. So we've done that, we've pressed play, the investment, people are here, so we're going to go ahead and just press play, and we're going to say, ladies and gentlemen of the investment board, after our extensive analysis of the US market, we have decreed that the place we're going to open up our base of operations is going to be right here in Detroit based on its high level of burglary and whatnot, okay? So, we kind of turn that into a kind of little movie, we kind of, can wrap that up and then put it in a PowerPoint presentation. And 2 minutes ago we started off with a complete blank canvas, right? We pulled in data, we put it on there, we turned it into a movie, and we presented it back to the people, right? This is just an example of how all these data sets are out there, and I guess these modern versions of Office and Office 365 can kind of turn all that data into some pretty meaningful, impactful and kind of information. So that's a little bit on Power BI, but I'm going to go throw over to Serge and Dennis now, who are going to get up and give us a run through on, I guess, a workflow around how modern companies would work when they're enabled through SharePoint and Delve and Skype for Business and Yammer. So I'll throw over to the guys now, and we'll come back later on.
Good afternoon, everyone. While Serge is getting plugged in here and getting ready. So really what we're going to be looking at here, the scenario we have is that I've worked on a document last night in the office. I'm now on annual leave and effectively about to get on a plane, lucky me. And Serge has come into the office the next day, wants to pick up that document, continue working on it, and get this over to a client. So if you want to speak a bit about the document we're going to be working on.
Basically we just want to show you how we can use Office 365 and all the tooling that it has to make you more agile, to collaborate better, and just to make your day-to-day life more efficient, basically, at work. So let's say Dennis has worked on this document yesterday. I need to find it. I'm not entirely sure where he put it, so I'll start off with just going into our Office 365 portal.
Yep, and I'm just tethered to my 3G on my phone for the moment for the purpose of this demo.
So as always, we need to log in, nice and safe. Here we go. All right, so I'm in Office 365 now. It takes us to our main landing page, which is SharePoint. Now, I'm not entirely sure where Dennis left this document. It might be in SharePoint in a document library. It might be on his OneDrive. He maybe emailed it to me. I don't really care where it is at the moment. I'll just use a tool in Office 365 called Delve to find that document. Now, let me quickly go to the Office App Launcher and start Delve. Now, just to explain Delve a little bit, Office 365 collects all kinds of data in the background. So it checks who are you working with, who are you emailing, which documents are you collaborating on, all those kinds of things. Collects it, and Delve is sort of a single pane of glass that will show you which documents are most relevant for you.
Yeah, so Delve's really one of those cloud technologies where Brett was mentioning that's just always learning, looking at who you work with regularly and making sure that the documents it presents to you is really relevant to you.
So yeah, so without even knowing where the document is saved, I can already tell, hey, Dennis, who's really relevant to me, worked on this scope of works yesterday. So let me quickly check with Word Online to see if that's the document that I need to start working on. Yeah, that's it. So basically, what I'd like to do today is finish this document, send it off to the customer for signing, basically. So I'll go ahead and edit it in my local version of Word because it has a little bit more functionality than the Word Online version, and it allows me to do more, basically. So while this is loading, it's actually downloading this current version of the document from Office 365 for you to edit locally on your machine. So it's nearly there. All right, so here we are. So basically, I'm pretty sure that the document is not finished yet, so I basically need Dennis's help to further assist me with it. So I know that Dennis is on the airport, but I'll just see if he's still online so that he can help me with a couple of things. So let me just open up Skype for Business, which is our instant messaging in Office 365. It'll also allow for conference calls and all that kind of stuff. So I'll just open up a chat with Dennis here. Are you available?
And you can see immediately, that's just binged up on my laptop with the message ready to go. So there's the message from Serge. Let's go, yes, I am. Reply back to Serge there.
Sweet. So I know that Dennis is still online and he might be able to help me with this document. So the first thing I'll do is just start a conference call with Dennis because that's just easier than messaging back and forth. So let me just start that up.
And my laptop's basically just started ringing, so I can go ahead and accept that video call. Now you can do audio, video, just text, anything you really want to do. We're just going to mute our microphones just so we don't get feedback through there.
Yeah, all right, perfect. So basically, I know that Dennis is online now, so we can continue chatting. So I'll ask Dennis if he's missing anything in that document. I think I found something in that document just a bit down. Let me just quickly browse to it.
Serge, while you're in that document there, can you just send a link to me? Saves me going into the system and finding it myself.
Yeah, that's fine. So instead of emailing Dennis this document now, I can just basically from Word share this document with him. There's a share feature in here. Now you can share it through email, present it online, but since we're already on Skype, I'll just send it through an instant message. So I'll send this to Dennis. Here we go. And Dennis gets the link.
And again, that just sends me a link. So all I really need to do is just click on that. And for me, it's going to open up the Word online. So Word, Excel, or your Office suite, you pretty much get an online version of with Office 365. Because I have Word on my computer, I'm going to go ahead and edit it in the full version of Word. Again, gives me the full functionality, and I can better collaborate with Serge.
All right, and while it's downloading for Dennis, it will do the same as for me. It downloads a temporary copy of the file so you can edit it.
And you can actually see, even though we've clicked away from our Skype meeting, the video's actually bordered itself in a nice little window on both our screens. So the person who's still actually talking still gets a bit of presence there.
You can see in the top right corner that it showed you that Dennis is now in the document as well, ready to collaborate with you. It can be 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, whoever you need in that document to assist you with that document and start working together. So what I basically do, I found that piece where there's still some data missing, so I'll just put my cursor on there so that Dennis will see where it is.
Okay. All right, so I can see a little red line that's just popped up here. Now keep in mind we are working in Word here, so there's a lot more text in here. This is quite a large document, there's a number of pages, so there might be a couple of second delay just while we do go in through here. But I can effectively come in here and go, yes, this is also going to have 4 by 500 gigabyte. And that should all pretty much reflect within a couple of seconds on Serge's screen there.
Yeah, perfect. You can see it straight away. This is what Dennis has added. You can see his name next to it, so you can see who is actually adding these contents in that document while it's live. So this is looking pretty good. I think there was also something else missing.
Yep, so I've just come through the document, Serge. I've just noticed we haven't got the terms and conditions in there. So our sales department's just updated the terms and conditions and done a post on Yammer.
Oh yeah, there it is. So that's still missing. So Yammer, Brett already quickly explained it. It's an enterprise social media. So you can use it to post data that is relevant for your customers. You can share it with customers if you want to, but especially for your colleagues. So to access Yammer, I'll just quickly go back to our Office 365 environment. I'm still in Delph. I'll open up the Office app launcher again. Let me have a quick look. Yammer down here, it's in the bottom. All right.
Just while we're waiting on that, so Yammer's another one that's available on all your mobile devices as well, be it iOS, Android or Windows. There are apps available for pretty much everything we're showing today.
Yeah, all right. So let me quickly go to our social media for our office, or the demo environment basically. So this is loading now. So I know that the sales team probably posted this a while ago because I got a message on my phone saying, hey, they posted something. So I'll quickly go into the sales group. I can see that the sales team has posted the terms and conditions. I'll just quickly grab this, copy and paste it for our document. I'll reply to it, saying, thanks guys. I've done it quite a bit, but here we go.
It's good to be recognized for your work.
That's it. So I'll quickly post this awesome work. Now, quickly go back to our document, and then I'll just copy and paste the terms and conditions. So I didn't have to email the sales department to say, hey, where are these terms and conditions located, or something like that. I'll just grab a post that they've done earlier. So let me just change the thing here. So that's it.
And in a couple of seconds, we should see that reflect on my screen as well. Now, where we actually find this to be quite useful is in Excel sheets, so where you can have multiple people working on different cells at a time. Because with Excel, you're only really dealing with individual cells, the updates are immediate, as opposed to the Word documents where you're sort of rendering all of the text. And there it's gone as I finished saying that.
So yeah, that's basically it. Now I think that the document is ready. I'm not sure how what you think about it.
Yeah, I agree. That looks fine. So the last thing we really need to do is just send this file off to our customer.
So again, what you would normally do, or in an older situation, you would open up Outlook, create a new email, type the customer's email address, and then find that file, attach it to that email, and then send it out. It works, but it can be faster nowadays. So you can go straight into Word, use the share feature again. This time I'm going to email this document out straight away. And instead of saving this document as a PDF first and then attaching it, I'll let Word do the work for me and say send as PDF. So what it will do is we'll just open up that email with the document as a PDF attached to it straight away. So all I need to do is type in the customer's email address. Please see attached. Ready. That's all there is to it. We send it out. It's going to the customer straight away. And that's basically how easy you can work and collaborate in Office 365.
Yep. So look, that's basically me accessing the document that Serge has sent through without needing to first remote onto a server, without needing to worry about getting connectivity anywhere. All I've needed is an internet connection, and Serge has been able to Skype me directly. That's been all well and good, the fact that I've had my laptop there, but really, who's sort of travelling with their laptop in their hands at all times. The beauty of what we've just done is that the whole thing can be done via a mobile device, and I'm using one of the Microsoft ones that Brett mentioned earlier, but it will work on anything, be it iOS or Android as well, utilising those apps. One thing I'd like to just show here, is I'm just going to plug in to a Microsoft dock. This one here, it can be done wirelessly as well. And this is a bit of cloud technology and stuff that Microsoft have done, which effectively makes my phone a computer now. So it's plugged into this dock. I'm plugged into a monitor. I've got a separate mouse, could have a separate keyboard back here and all of that. And let's say, for instance, I was in a hotel room or something, and I don't want to bring my machine or my laptop around anymore. Well, now I've actually got a computer just by using my phone, and I'm going to just come and jump into that same document that Serge and I were working on.
Yeah, just a real-life example on this screen, by the way. I hope you guys can see it. This was actually a photo taken by Demo while he was in a hotel somewhere in a distant land. You can see he has his phone. He brought a Bluetooth keyboard and a mouse connected to the TV in the hotel room. And off you go. He has his computer with him, and he can just continue work as if he would be in the office.
And you can see here we've got those changes that Serge and I have just made. So this is all instant. It's not relying on anyone sending changes or tracking changes backwards and forwards. And again, it's without actually needing to access a server or any local infrastructure to do any of this, really.
Yeah, so that's basically a normal daily situation that we would encounter here, and instead of emailing back and forth, especially when Dennis is out of the office, this can be quite painful. It might take a couple of days for him to get to reply to my request and all that kind of stuff. Now it's almost instant. Within 10 to 15 minutes, we've updated the document and sent it through to the customer instead of waiting a couple of days for us to get back to them.
That's right, and that's all basically using the cloud technologies in Office 365, things like OneDrive, SharePoint, Delve, Skype for Business. You're really taking advantage of that mobility that Brett mentioned earlier.
So that's basically it. Now the last thing that I quickly want to show you guys is the document management that is in SharePoint. Now, for instance, let's say this document has now been changed by somebody who shouldn't be changing this document. And there's a lot of things changed in there, and we need to revert to a previous version, which I know is still the right one. Basically, we go back to our SharePoint site. I know it was in the client's document library, so I'll just quickly browse to there. These are all our clients. There it is, Contoso as well. Let me just open that up. All right, so this is the document that we've sent to the customer. Now somebody else got in there, changed the whole document, and we need to revert it back to a previous version. All we need to do is select this document. And then in the bottom here, there's an option called version history. Now, SharePoint can be configured, but by default, it will keep an X number of major versions of your document. So every time you save that document with changes, it saves a version, basically. So,
and you can see there who's modified it, who was the last one actually working in the document. So you can very easily see who's made those changes.
So once you found the version that you need to go back to, you basically just select that version. Oh, sorry about that. Click on the arrow next to it and say restore. Do you really want to replace the current version that you have? Yes, we do, because if it's still wrong, we can go back to that version as well. That's basically all there is to it. That's the versioning control in SharePoint. It's very easy to use, and in case you have a problem with your document, just revert it back to the version from yesterday or the day before, whatever you like. So that's basically the end of our little demo for a day-to-day scenario. Any quick questions?
Open up if anyone has any questions based on that.
We can still talk afterwards as well if you guys would like to ask more questions about it. Yeah, that's it. All right.
All right. With that, I'd like to hand over to my colleague Steve Dawson just to finish us out.
I'll be the one if you...
Dennis and Serge, for that very insightful demonstration there. I'm sure that a lot of that information's got the juices flying for a lot of you, and obviously comes with that a bit of how do we get there? It seems light years away from where we are at the moment, and that's a conversation that we have quite regularly with a lot of our clients. A lot of these technologies obviously have a lot of benefits, and it's important that you're able to take advantage of those, but obviously have a good plan in place to make sure it doesn't impair your business as well. One thing Damo mentioned a little bit earlier is we do challenge a lot of you, all of you, to think of a real-world challenge you're having within your business, whether it be specifically with your IT environment or something that you want to achieve that you're not necessarily doing currently. And we challenge you to bring that to us and have a conversation around what can be done. The reality is, with a lot of these technologies that we've shown you today, they literally fix a lot of those challenges that everyday business faces. So that would be great. If you do have any of those ideas, feel free to come and have a chat with us. Obviously, with all of this, these bits and pieces we've shown you, there is a road to go. A lot of people are still using a lot of technologies which have been around for years, and these technologies require a lot of change, which obviously can be a little bit intimidating. One of the big things that we do for all of our customers and for the general public as well, and as Serge is demonstrating here, we've got a DIY info and advice section on our website. And what we do is basically post 2 to 5 minute videos, and what they are is quick little how-tos on how to achieve standard things that you would do day to day within the cloud environment. So bridging that gap of knowledge and I guess giving you a little bit more confidence into the product. What we do in many cases, try and preempt a lot of the things that you will face. Obviously, being in an IT business, we've run through these transitions a number of times and had the privilege of taking a lot of businesses on this journey as well. So I think there's just to use an example, there is a Delve video on that page, Serge, if you can find that one. So you'll see there's, we've shown you Delve today and given you a very brief outline of how that works, but we've also created a video here for you to be able to review at any stage to show you the more in-depth fixings of how it works and possibly apply that to the business. So we do encourage everybody to, if you do have any of these things that you think might be of interest, because the chances are if the question's ringing in your head, it's probably ringing in hundreds of other people's head as well. Let us know, because we're happy to create this content and share it with everybody, not just our clients, but the greater general public as well. One of the ways that we actually use this, though, when it comes to onboarding clients to the cloud, is we actually can manipulate and build for example, a 30-day training course. So any customers that we look at putting a SharePoint solution in place for, we will tailor make a course to fit what they're trying to achieve with the product. So an example of that is we've got a couple of customers actually in the room that we've enrolled in a 30-day training course, and each day they'll receive an email with a 5-minute video, so it's not too impairing on the day-to-day productivity, but that'll give them a little bit of additional coverage and knowledge of the product before you go live, meaning that when it is go live day, you're not freaking out and everybody has no idea what's going on. The idea around this is educating your team as much as possible before the actual go live date, and really generating a lot of excitement and basically broadcasting the benefits of this to the business so everyone's fully aware and is happy to embrace the change. So as I mentioned, it's very important to get the team interested. That's one of the key things that we do find prohibits the user adoption of these things is human nature. Nobody likes change, but as you can see, there's a lot of benefits to these. As you have probably seen a couple of minutes ago, Serge actually started a recording of this session on his laptop here. We've also got the GoPros and the microphones and all that bits and pieces happening as well. So exactly in the same scenario, we're recording these sessions today to publish online. You're more than welcome to share these with your team. They will be published on the website. But again, this is just to get that knowledge out to the greater public, and we're really trying to push the thought leadership process within our business, because it is a very exciting time for us, and we do want to share that with all of you as well. Look, that just about does it for me. I'll be around with the other guys as well throughout the process if you want to have a bit of a chat on how some ways we do actually achieve this change management. But with that, I'll hand back it over to Damo, and just to finish off, and I think we've got some lucky door prizes as well that Ben will take care of.
Well, thanks very much. Again, I'm really keeping an eye on time and make sure that I promise to get you out the door by 1:30. We'll hang around if anyone's got any questions who hasn't been fortunate enough to go on the tour. All right, it's a really exciting tour. But that was one of the reasons. In a way, it would have been a lot cleaner, probably cheaper and easier for us to have this at a hotel or somewhere, just a convention centre. Maybe not that big, but going through to have that. But we were encouraged to actually do it here for a bit of the authenticity. And from my part, I'm quite proud of the team that we've got here and what we've established. And for us to, it's been a real jump for our company to move away from that plumber break fix work to actually start giving away a lot of our intellectual property. By doing these videos, by giving it away, by giving the information for free. That was a real tough call to make. But all the studies, and with the help and guidance of Microsoft and a few other key partners, and sort of looking back through it, it's been proven that the people who are willing to put it out there are tending to reap the most rewards. So we're going through that way, and we're basically going to continue to do it. And so, as we said, even if you're not a client now and there's a challenge, we'd happily create a video for it, because it is something that we know that other people are going to do and other people are going to get value. And if we can be seen as that thought leader and provide that piece of differentiation in the marketplace, and then that's what we want to do, because getting IT plumbers, people to just fix stuff, is pretty easy, but we're trying to take it well beyond that, because the actual fixing bits and that type of thing is getting less and less, and IT in itself on its purest form is quite simple. It is actually getting easier. They're talking about going to devices, about everything that goes to be able to work from home, to be able to work from all the Gen Ys, to be able to get this information in your pocket. It's taking away that reliance on having the massive server farms and, going through. And so that's where we're really trying to move our business and move our direction to work with our clients. And we ask our clients to give us that roadmap as well. We've got an idea and we work in various verticals that we'll go through and we'll push and we'll think, hey, that'll work really well. But that's what we're inviting. We're inviting the challenge to go through. So that's basically what we're saying along those lines. There are a couple other things that I just wanted to finish off on. As far as Power BI Going through, yeah, we've got some really exciting things that we're working with, and we're under some NDAs with some certain clients at the moment, but we're working on the extent for, as we said with Brett, let's say in the medical field, to have Cortana be able to give information to doctors basically instantly on practice times, waiting times, all those type of things. So the key, they can be driving in, getting all that sort of information. So that's something that's really interesting. As far as BI in motion, we do have people from the convention centre here, and welcome and thank you for coming. And we were talking about it earlier, how Microsoft held their annual conference at the convention centre, and you saw some of the mapping technologies and that came through. And one of the things that Microsoft had at the convention centre last time was heat maps on where the Wi-Fi was getting used, and real time, and basically on having a look at where's using the Wi-Fi and where people were moving and that type of thing. And in a venue that large, it was just really interesting, something quite simple. You know, it wasn't going through, but some of the other technologies that we're seeing, like I go away to conferences and technology events, like I was in Taipei for that one where they took that was a real life photo of actually using the device. But in saying that, we get all this information, and so it's deciding on what to bring back is quite an interesting thing, and that's why we want to be guided, by people to go through. So, there's certainly so much more, and we plan to do this as a more regular occurrence. We plan to create more of this. This is the first in a series, but we've sort of taken the steps, and there's a few things we might have done wrong, and again, any feedback to the different would be great. But we're going to continue along these lines, bringing new content, new information all the time, and trying to bring a few more real-world examples where hopefully we'll get past that NDA stage where we can show you where we're at with some of these things going through, having Cortana interrogating a client's information live, going through, so they can just simply answer off a phone. So we're really excited. We know that if we bring that to life, no one's doing it in this area. And when I say this area, I mean, like even Australia as a whole, there's only just a couple of people, and for us, to be on that cutting edge on the Gold Coast is something that we're really excited about. This small company that, we're at the helm of. It's really interesting. I'm going to show you one last thing. Serge, can you just quickly, I think, just with the SharePoint stuff, I think, long story short, they showed this before, but with this is sort of SharePoint at another level, and where we're sort of talking about for a lot of clients, just really quickly, is having that ability to have just a single interface. Because it's, as we've said 100 times in the conversation here today, it's not about the device anymore. It's not about being connected to a PC or a thin client or a Mac or anywhere, anytime. It's just about getting access to your information, because there's only realistically currently 3 hyperscale, cloud technology companies. Obviously, you've got Google, AWS, and Microsoft, who's our chosen partner. Alibaba out of China they will become a big player, just due to size. But we've chosen to stick with Microsoft. They've created the business platform for so long that goes through. But what we're doing is just, what we're doing for clients is taking SharePoint to that next step, that you can see, what Serge has got on there is on my phone. I know it's sort of small, and I'll show you all individually, but you scroll up, it's the same thing that just automatically sort of shapes to provision to whatever people have got, any device, anywhere, and a lot of it's single touch. We're moving through to having just no matter what the device, and I think like ConnectWise and a lot of people who are our clients, that's our job booking system. That's where we get all our reports from, where the guys do the service tickets, where you log tickets, all that type of thing. But the guys can click on that straight from the website, straight from the phone, straight from anything that goes through, and have it launch. So if you think about your business as far as, it doesn't matter about the whole BYOD anymore. Because that's what a lot of IT managers are putting the concerns around, saying, how am I going to secure my devices? How am I going to go through? Well, let's not worry about what's on the device. Let's just keep it all there and have a single interface point. And we got, the only thing that go, how do we print? We've got technologies for that, so it can still come back to a local printing or something that goes through. But just have that single point, one touch, one click interface, no matter what it is. And that's what we're working towards, so it goes through. So that's your platform. That's your new desktop. I know they've talked about it when people changed, from the different versions of Windows. There was such an uproar because there wasn't the start button. But when your millennials and all this sort of come through, and if you've got a larger workforce that just needs to access certain applications or just drive certain things and not complicate it, this is the best way to deliver it. So in saying all that, again, thank you to you all for coming. I've got a couple of giveaways here. So we have a few seats that are empty. So on the back of your seat, you'll see there's a number. So I don't even know what where's it all hidden? All right, we've gone through. So I'm just cue our barrel girl. So here we go. No looking. What do we got, Ben?
Go for the biggest thing first.
Oh, I don't know. You tell me. We've got a power bank for your mobile phone chargers, number 13. Lucky 13. Oh. There we go. Also, I'm not even sure, as I said, I've been away on annual leave. I only got in last night, so I'm not even sure what goodies we've got in the bag. Is it disappointing? Is it? If it is, I'll make sure. Let's put it on the... No, we'll fix that next time. Did we put chocolates, anything?
Puppy in
there? Puppy. All right. Number 1, they're not here. Number 28. That'll be up the back somewhere. The Bluetooth, we've got a Bluetooth car adapter. All right. Number 9. Do we have a 9? I think 9's empty. Oh. I get turned into a 6. There we go. Number 6. Do we have a 6? There we go. Number 25. There we go. Thank you very much. What do we got? Lucky last, a bit of... Yeah. Something. What do we got? Someone here. Number 16. There 16. There we go. And thank you, Sue. So, what do we got? We're literally spot on. We've got 1 minute to go. So, for those of you who need to rush out, thank you again very much for being here. We will send out all this information when we get it edited and published up. By all means, please grab some more food if you do need to run. We're all going to hang around. If you've got specific questions, I'm sure Brett's going to make himself available. And if not, individually, if you can't get access to him and there's a queue, please grab us and we'll try and at least defer a question or get your contact details and we'll call you back. We can get Brett to give you a call back. But yeah, and a special thank you to Brett for coming up. That was one of the big changes that we as a company have done. We've really tried to engage with Microsoft and they've given us a lot of support back. And that's really helped us as a company and we feel it's elevated us from just sort of a standard IT plumber to actually a real technology partner. So thank you again and give yourself a round of applause. Cheers.